everyone, welcome back to our video. And in this lesson, we are going to learn how to create a double opt-in on email sequences and then use the MMIO Connect to register webhooks using an external landing page builder. So in this example, I'm going to use this external landing page builder, markhamrobot.com. So you can use any other landing page builder, but for this testing process, let's just use this. I have already created a landing page here, a very basic landing page with a form. So let's preview our form. You can design your landing page any way you want, but for this lesson, let's just use this very simple landing page. And we are going to open this on a new tab. So let's click the link and open on a new tab. So what we are going to do here is we are going to capture the name, the email, and the phone number of our subscriber. And then we are going to save that on our Marketing Master IO contact book. So let's go to Marketing Master IO dashboard. And what we're going to do first is we are going to create a contact book. So go to contacts and then contact books. And then we are going to create a new contact book. And let's say this is our testing contact book 1. Okay, so this is our contact book, testing contact book 1. And then we are going to click submit. All right, so now that we have already created our contact book, what we're going to do is we are going to remember the ID of our contact book, and the ID is 1653 because we are going to use that later on. The next step would be to create a webhook URL. And what we can do is we are first going to create an email sequence. So go to email marketing and go to email flow builder. We're going to create a new email flow. Let's name this email flow as opt-in test email flow and then click OK. All right, so let's build our first email. Okay, so we can add an email by opening the doc menu, and then we can add an HTML email or a plain text email. In this case, let's just click HTML email, and then we are going to connect this. But before we can connect, we must add a delay and then connect it there. So the delay would be 1 minute. So after the subscriber opted in to our sequence, after 1 minute, they will receive our first email. We can add more emails here by connecting to our continue to next step. So let's add another email here and then click delay. And then let's add another email. And this time I'm going to use a plain text email. For the second email, the delay would be, let's say, after 1 day. 1 day. Okay. So what would happen is after they receive our first email, the day after that, they will receive our second email. Now let's configure our first email. For the subject, we're going to say, welcome to our newsletter first name. And then let's just say this is the heading letter. So you can configure this any way you like. But for example purposes, let's just configure the header and then let's leave the rest as is. For this to work, we need to add an unsubscribe link. So let's just say unsubscribe here. And then for the here, we are going to add the unsubscribe link here. Okay, so this is the unsubscribe variable. Click save. And after that, our from name, let's just say, and now let's configure our from email. Great, so we have configured our email subject, our from name, and our from email. And our email body has been configured as well. We can now confirm the changes. Next, we are going to configure our second email. For the second email, this will become our subject. This is my second day content. And the from name, let's just configure the same as our first email. And always remember to add an unsubscribe link here. After that, confirm the changes. All right, we have created our email flow. We can now save this flow. After saving our flow, let's go back to our flow list and you would be able to see our newly created email flow here. So the webhook URL for this email flow is automatically generated. And if you click the show webhook URL button, you'd be able to see the webhook URL here because we are going to need this when we want to opt in our subscriber from the landing page. By default, the opt-in settings is disabled. So if you want to use double opt-in, you need to enable this. So click enable and choose your opt-in template. So I have previously created my opt-in template and the name is my opt-in. So I'm going to show you how you can create your own opt-in template. Go to email marketing and then go to opt-in templates. And then we are going to create our new opt-in template. Click new opt-in template button and then add our opt-in template name. So let's just say this is my new opt-in 2. And then we are going to assign the contact book. Now, what would happen is once they opted into our email sequence, they will automatically be added to our contact book here if we choose this specific opt-in template. Now let's add our subject line. So our subject line would be confirm your email here. And then let's configure the from name and the from email. Great, we have already configured the from name and the from email. Now for the email body, you are free to design your email opt-in any way you like. And just make sure that you added the opt-in link here. If you fail to add your opt-in link, then you won't be able to save your opt-in email template. So to add your opt-in link, all you have to do is click here to copy to the clipboard and then paste your opt-in link anywhere on your email body. Now for testing purposes, I'm just going to use the default email template here. I'm not going to add any further configuration. In your case, you might want to change the image here or you may remove it. You might want to change the content here. Any way you like, it's up to you. Now let's just save our email opt-in template. So click Save button. After saving, let's go back. And then we are going to assign this newly created email opt-in template to our email flow. So go to email marketing and go to email flow builder. And on our email flow, which is the opt-in test email flow, let's assign an opt-in. So click opt-in settings, enable double opt-in, and then select our newly created opt-in template. And after that, we are going to click Save Opt-in Settings. Great, we have successfully saved our opt-in settings for this email sequence. We can now copy our webhook URL, and once our subscriber opts into this email sequence, they will receive our opt-in email template. And after they confirm their email, only then will they start receiving the emails from our email flow. So let's click OK. Now it's time to build a webhook URL on MMIO Connect. So go to Utilities and then click MMIO Connect. All right, we have successfully logged in MMIO Connect. What we need to do next is we are going to create a new workflow. And let's just pause this start element. And then we are going to add a new element. And that new element is the webhook. Okay, create a webhook. And then after creating, you would be able to see that we have our test URL and our production URL here. So since we are still testing, we are first going to use the test URL, and we are going to use the post method as the HTTP method. So click here to copy the test URL, and then we are going to go back to our landing page builder. Okay, so we are back at Markham Robot Landing Page Builder. Again, you can use any type of landing page builder that you want. As long as that landing page builder supports webhooks, you can use those landing page builder to connect to MMIO. Now, go to Settings. You should be able to see the webhooks link here, so click that. And we are going to add a new webhook. Now, the webhook name would be my webhook. And for the event, we are going to trigger this webhook whenever we have a new lead or lead created. And after that, we're going to post the webhook URL that we have copied from MMIO Connect. Okay, so this is the MMIO Connect webhook. So if you remember, this is where we copied that webhook URL. Now click Finish to finally create your webhook URL. Now it's time to test our webhook if it's working or not. So go to your landing page, and then we are going to open this landing page on a new tab. In this case, we have already opened our landing page on a new tab. So let's just refresh our landing page. And let's go back to MMIO Connect. We are going to execute this node to test this. So click Execute Node. And then after the node is executing, it is now waiting for the data. So let's supply the data from our landing page. So on the landing page, we are going to add the email here. So let's just add whatever email that we want here just for testing purposes. Click Contact Me, and it should trigger the webhook URL now. So let's go back to MMIO. And as you can see here, we now received the data from our webhook. Okay, if you click the JSON format, you can see that on the form data, we have the full name, the email, and the phone number. Okay, it's now time to build the connection to our email sequence. We can now add another HTTP request going to our email flow sequence. So add another element here and search for HTTP and click HTTP request. For the HTTP request, we are going to use the post method. And for the URL here, we are going to copy the URL from our email flow and go to email flow builder. And on our email flow builder, we can copy the webhook URL from our newly created email flow. So click Show Webhook URL button and copy this webhook URL. After copying your webhook URL, go back to MMIO Connect and then paste the URL here. Great. The next thing would be to add our JSON parameters. So on the body parameters, we are going to click Add Parameter here. And for the parameter names, we are going to use the names as shown on the guide here. So we are going to use email, first name, and then last name. So let's copy the email parameter name and add it over here. And for the value, we are going to use the value that was provided on the previous webhook. So click Parameter Options, and then Add Expression, and go to Nodes, go to Webhook, Output Data, JSON, Body, and on the data, you can see the form data here. Under the form data, you would be able to see the email, and this is what we are going to use. Now, the data structure depends on the landing page builder that you are using. It just so happens that Marcom Robot structures the data this way. So let's click the email now. And after that, we have added the email, and you can verify that under the result. Okay, now we are going to add another parameter. So click Add Parameter. And in this case, we are going to add the first name or the last name. In this case, we are not given the first name or the last name. Instead, we have the full name. So let's use the full underscore name parameter. And then on the value, we can add an expression here. Go to Nodes again, go to Webhook, Output Data, JSON, Body, and under the form data, we can see the full name over here. Okay, next is we are going to add another parameter, and that parameter is the phone underscore number. And under the value, we are still going to use another expression. Go to Webhook, Output Data, JSON, Body, Data, and under the form data, use the phone underscore number parameter. All right, we have already created all the parameters that we need. So we have email, full name, and then phone number. We can now test this HTTP request. So click Execute Node. All right, so after clicking Execute Node, we have successfully triggered our email flow. And what happens is our subscriber will now receive the opt-in email. So since this step is already confirmed, we can now close this. And as you can see, all of this is validated. All the steps that we have, the webhook step and the HTTP request step, we can now activate our workflow. But first, let's just rename our workflow. All right, this will become the name of our workflow. Another step would be to use a permanent webhook URL. So let's open the webhook. You may remember that the webhook URL we added on our landing page builder is only the test URL. Now, test webhook URLs only works during testing. It only works one time, so that means we need to use a permanent webhook URL. So go to production URL and copy our webhook here and go back to Marcom Robot and go to settings and webhooks. And then we are going to edit this webhook and replace this webhook with our permanent webhook URL and then click update. Now we have configured a permanent webhook URL for our landing page builder. It means that our flow would now work every time. So let's go back again to MMIO Connect. Now that we have activated our workflow, we can now use this on our production automation. So let's go back to our landing page builder and let's refresh this. And instead of adding any testing data, we're going to use a valid data this time. Now I'm going to use all this data for my landing page. Notice that the email that I used here is colin@smarter.io. We can confirm if this is indeed not yet included on our contact book by going to our MMIO dashboard. All right, we are now on our MMIO dashboard. Let's go to contacts and then click my contact list. On our contact list, we can filter it out to only show the contacts on our newly created contact book, which is the testing contact book 1. And as you can see here, we have 0 results because we have not added any contact on this contact book yet. Now let's go back to our landing page and let us submit the details that we have on our landing page. Click Contact Me. Great, so after that, it should submit the data on our MMIO Connect webhook, and then finally, capture that data going back to our MMIO flow. If everything is working well, we should be able to receive the opt-in email on the email that we submitted on the form. So let's go to that email's inbox. All right, we are now on our email inbox. And as you can see, we have received the opt-in email here. So let's click the opt-in email. And this is the opt-in email template that we have configured previously. Now let's try to click Confirm Now button. Great, now that our email is confirmed, if everything's working well, this email should now be added to our contact book. Now let's go back to our MMIO dashboard. And this time, let's refresh this page. Go back again to contacts and my contact list. And then search for the contact book that we have previously created. And as you can see, we now have one contact here because this email successfully subscribed to our flow. Any minute now, we should be able to start receiving the emails from our email sequence flow. To confirm if this email is indeed subscribed to our email sequence, we can go to Email Marketing and then go to Email Flow Builder. And then here we can click the Show Email Sequence Subscribers. Click this button. And as you can see, we have the email here and the message is currently in queue. Any minute now, we should be able to receive the email from our email sequence. All right, so after a few minutes, we finally received the first email from our email sequence. So let's open this email. Great, so this is indeed the first email from our email sequence. Remember that you can design your emails any way you like, but for testing purposes, we used the default design as is. We simply changed the title so that we can verify if it is indeed coming from our email flow. So that's it. I hope that you have learned a lot in this video. You can review this video if there are parts that are not yet clear to you, or you can contact us if you have further questions. So thank you again for watching our video, and stay tuned for our future lessons.